Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm Sam,
I'm Ren.
and that's that. Welcome back to another episode of Spooky News. This is episode 4. Another episode, yeah.
Of Spooky News, great.
Spooky News.
Episode 4.
Episode 4, we're on the 4th episode. This is for January of 2025.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Unbelievable. Can't believe it. January 2025.
2025.
And believe it or not, the world of spooky doesn't stop
Never.
at any point. So January has spooky news.
Mm-hmm.
Would you believe it?
I would believe it, yeah.
Well, you best believe it.
Oh.
Because it happened.
Wow.
How do you feel about 2025? Happy in the new year?
It's alright, isn't it?
It's aight.
I don't know how spooky it is yet. So far, in my perspective, from my perspective, it has not been spooky at all because I've heard
You've not
nothing.
been spooked out.
I've not been spooked out. I've not heard or seen nothing.
Well, what we have seen is that we've spotted some new ghost walks.
Oh, yeah.
We're considering going on. So
That'll be fun.
there may be a video about that if we do that at some point. Very exciting. That'll be a bit spooky. Yeah.
Very spooky.
I don't. Yeah, but we've not really done out else spooky. Wait, hold on. Before we get into the news, do you remember that story?
Oh, gosh.
Or do you not remember it?
I kind of remember it.
Should we tell
Well,
it?
because it was in December, so it's fitting.
Yeah.
I was speaking to my dad and he told me about how I don't think he saw anything, but he could sense there was something there. It was in the kitchen with my mum. My mum was on the other side of the kitchen and my mum's talking to my dad and my dad's sort of like looking at something like next to my mum and it's going past her. And he's just sort of like looking at this thing. And my mum's like, what the fuck are you looking at? And my dad's like, I swear I just saw something there. And my dad very much believes in like ghosts and stuff like that. But it wasn't until like a few days later that they realised that it was actually the anniversary of my mum's best friend's death. I can't remember. It might have been... It was either her birthday or the anniversary of death. I can't remember. But it was on that day when he saw this thing.
What did he say? What it was? Like an orb or something?
No, he said... I can't really remember what he said.
Right.
I shouldn't have brought it up. He could just sort of sense there was something there, and he was following it with his eyes. But he didn't really say what it was or if he could actually see anything.
But just something definitely out of the ordinary.
Yeah,
not something.
I think because he said like he felt someone like go past, and then he was following it with his eyes around the kitchen, and it went like right next to my mum, and so my mum's obviously going ballistic. Like, what is it? What's going on? You're freaking me out. But I just thought that was a bit interesting.
Yeah.
My dad's always having those sort of supernatural events, though.
It's not the first time he said he's seen a ghost.
It is not. No.
There was a face
He's
one time. He saw an apparition.
He's so calm about it as well.
Yeah.
He's just so chill about it. Like, my dad says hello to everyone he meets. He's one of them. He just has a chat with everyone and he gets along with everyone. And so it's just so normal for him that he's like, hey, am I saying hello to a person or a ghost? Don't matter to me. I'm just saying hello.
He's quite happy to have a chat.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought that was quite weird because obviously we don't know exactly what he saw. I don't think he even knows what he saw, what he experienced, but he definitely felt there was something there.
And this was in their house.
In their house. On the anniversary. Like I said, I can't remember if it was her birthday or the anniversary of her death. I think it was the anniversary of her death, though.
Yeah.
So it was like before Christmas. But yeah. Crazy.
Spooky.
Very spooky.
Well, with that mind frame going forward, should we head into the news?
Let's do it.
Because we're starting with ghosts out of the big 3.
Okay. I'm ready.
Okay, here's the first story. The headline is, Speaker's aide says she has been nuzzled by a ghost dog in Parliament.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
The source of this story is the Metro.
Right.
So here we go.
Okay.
The dreaded return to work after winter recess might be only a week away at the time of this story. But that's not the only thing sending a chill down the spines of people in Parliament. This is in the UK. This
Yeah.
is a story for us. An aide to Speaker of the House of Commons, Sir Lindsay Hoyle, has opened up about paranormal encounters she has had in the Palace of Westminster. Speaking to The Sun, Joanne Crowder described how she once felt a dog rub past her leg while working.
Aww.
But when she looked down, there was no pup to be seen. When she confided in a colleague, she was told that ghostly woofs have been heard around the same area.
Oh my god.
And that's not the only spooky experience the top parliamentary official has had. In an admittedly quite confusing anecdote, she said she had been walking along one of the building's labyrinth corridors when she saw her face reflected in the glass of a door. Joanne said, quote, "I thought, oh, that's my reflection. I can see myself. Don't know what made me think of it. I could just see myself. But then I actually thought to myself, this is clearly not my face. That looks like me, but that's not my face." She continued, "There was definitely a grey-haired lady in this panel of glass." Despite the 150-year history of the current Palace of Westminster, there are relatively few reported sightings of any unique spirits wandering around the site. The same cannot be said for one of the UK's other centres of political power, number 10 Downing Street. In 2013, the building's facilities manager, David Heaton, wrote a blog post for Halloween describing a supernatural entity he'd met there.
Oh.
He wrote, quote, "As I crossed the small dining room to the two large doors that opened up into the state dining room, I passed the end of the table and absolutely jumped out of my skin because someone walked past me. I'm talking about a space of a couple of feet, but because of the darkness, I hadn't seen the person. On spinning around, the light from the door I had entered through showed I was on my own."
That's spooky.
So, that's the whole story. It's just a little teaser of a place you don't normally think about hearing about ghosts. You know, but these are quite old places. I mean, the UK, well, I mean, everywhere in the world is as old as the world is, right?
Yeah.
But in terms of established settlements, like, obviously a lot of stories we get come from the US, understandably. It's a big place. There's a lot of people there. And there's a lot of creepy stuff going on in the US if the stories you read are true. But in terms of being, like, settled, as it were, and having a larger civilization built up in it, the US is very young.
Yeah.
Whereas the UK is very old. So there's a lot of history, a lot of people living in condensed spaces.
Yeah.
And this is a place that has been important for a long time. And it wouldn't be surprising things happen there. But what's also not surprising is that you don't hear much about it.
Yeah.
It's not really... It would seem weird to have all of your political leaders talking about the ghosts all the time, you know what I mean? So it's not totally surprising that they don't bring it up very much, but it's not surprising that those stories do happen.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. What do you think about that?
With the dog one, I wonder if they have a dog themselves.
Maybe. And maybe that's why they're used to
but
that
then
sort
them
of thing,
saying,
they know
like,
what it
the
means.
ghostly woofs.
Yeah.
That's quite cute. But then again, there is that man in Leeds who always howls.
There is that guy, yeah.
It might just be a person.
Yeah, there might be a wolf person.
Someone just making noise, you know? I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, because I was thinking, because we've had Bailey last week.
Yeah.
And working from home and having a dog there, you get used to it.
Yeah.
And you get used to, like, you feel something and it's like you look down and
presence
there's a dog, and then
Yeah.
you can feel the presence. And so, like, the day after, I'd walk really cautiously and be like worried that I was about to like tread on him because he's in the dark. He's a black dog. He's just invisible.
Can't see him at all.
And so I was like really cautious of that, and I'm like, he's not even here. And so maybe it's that. Maybe if you've got a dog and you feel it, you know, you don't even realize you feel it when a dog brushes past you when you live with a dog. So maybe there's that. But I think that's so cute. There's just a little ghost doggy running around.
I think. Yeah, I mean, it humanises them a little bit if you hear stories like that.
Yeah.
Like the politics, doesn't it? Which is feels very separate from the rest of us. But when they're talking about little ghost dogs, it's kind of cute. All right, let's move past that one.
Okay.
It's a good first story. This next story is about a celebrity.
Celebrity.
The headline is, Adele blighted sale of former West Sussex home by calling it scary, says vendor.
Right.
The source for this is The Guardian. So, here's what happened. Usually there's a little bit of cachet when one of the world's most beloved stars has lived in a sprawling pile that comes up for sale. I don't know why it's called a pile. That seems like makes it sound like a mess. But when they live in a sprawling pile that comes up for sale. But not in the case of Lock House, which according to the vendor has failed to find a buyer because the singer Adele has blighted it by saying it was haunted. Adele lived in the West Sussex home, a former convent, for 6 months and is named half a dozen times in planning statements from the owner, who is now aiming to convert it because a buyer can't be found for the whole house.
Wow.
Adele showed the American TV network CBS around the grade 2 listed house in 2012 and said she found it quite scary, but did not say she thought it was haunted.
Oh.
Which is contrary to what you just said. But a British tabloid claimed the singer-songwriter was convinced the house was haunted. And
Does she think it's haunted or not?
well, I suppose what they're saying is she didn't say it was haunted in that particular
Right.
program,
Okay. Yeah.
other people have suggested that she did say that at other points. Yeah. And Hello also featured it in a list of stars' ghostly homes. The planning statement says the grade 2 listed house is surrounded by grounds with roaming deer, mature oak, cedar, Scots pine, and lime trees, and views towards the South Downs.
Cute.
It was built at the start of the 20th century, and a ballroom was added in 1940.
Oh my God! How has this not been scooped up?
In the 1970s, it was converted into the Convent of the Visitation, and the ballroom was converted into a chapel.
Oh.
It's probably not been picked up because it's bloody expensive.
Oh well, yeah. But you'd think that people that like enthusiastic about like haunted buildings and that would be interested.
Yeah, but how
probably
many
not
people
interested in buying it.
How many people
I've got the money.
haunted buildings have that kind of money?
That's true.
The current owner bought it in 2003 and refurbished it, turning the ballroom/chapel into a family kitchen. It now has a cinema room, snooker room, a leisure complex with a swimming pool, tennis court, and a summer house.
Yeah, fuck it. We ain't got the money for it.
Adele rented it for 6 months after the owner moved out, but the planning statement says, unfortunately, during an interview on CBS, Adele remarked that she believed the house to be haunted. This says she didn't say that. Maybe it was miswritten. I don't know.
Who knows?
Anyway, where am I? She said she believed it was to be haunted. It was haunted. This comment negatively impacted future marketing efforts and continues to affect the property's reputation to this day. In a CBS interview, Adele, who is from London, mentioned that the house used to be a convent. When showing the interviewer around, she said she had moved for privacy, adding, "This house is a bit of a cliche, really. This bit's all quite scary, really. It was a convent for a little while." The interviewer mentioned the horror story The Shining, to which Adele replied, "All work and no play," a reference to the all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy line made famous in the film The Shining starring Jack Nicholson.
Mm-hmm.
The Sun reported that Adele was convinced the house was haunted and heard things that made her jump. That's the whole story. So what do you think about that? No one will buy Adele's old house because she said it's haunted.
Although she didn't
the owner
say
says.
it's
But it
haunted.
wasn't her house. She was renting it. But she lived there for 6 months. So
she hasn't mentioned the hauntings.
she didn't say what was haunted. No.
Yeah.
Well, in the story that I found, it didn't say anything about it.
Yeah.
But I think so. It's got two things going for it: being a big, nice house with loads of amenities, and if you're rich, that's a pretty cool place to buy and live. And also, it being owned by Adele at one point is also a marketing point.
Yeah.
But all that is trounced by the fact she said it was haunted, and so many people don't want to live in apparently a haunted house that those things are not willing. They're not willing to accept that.
Yeah. I wonder if like they're
I'm
just
surprised
using
at
that as a reason, and that's not like
it's just not
else.
selling it. They need an excuse, possibly, because I would be surprised, because that would suggest that a lot of people, at least a lot of people with that kind of money, would believe in ghosts to enough of an extent that to put them off buying that house.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I'm not, there's a lot of people who believe in ghosts.
Yeah.
But a lot of people also don't talk about it. But this would be like an unspoken thing of like, there's quite a lot of people that you wouldn't necessarily think about that are scared to live in a haunted house.
Yeah. To be fair, I mean, a house is such a big investment, right?
Right.
you know, anyone who's not a celebrity, I guess, it'd be like, I'm not going to risk it for a possibly haunted house that it
Maybe.
might be a living nightmare.
Yeah.
Because this is such an investment. But for
Yeah.
celebrities, nothing to a minute.
I mean, live there. But if it's haunted, you know, get some evidence, get proof of the
Yeah.
afterlife. Brilliant. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? What are you worried about? I mean, what are they going to do? Kill you? They're a ghost. Come on.
You've been watching too
They're
many
scary,
movies.
but they ain't going to hurt you, are they?
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think...
Especially not the dog ones.
As we've established, I'm,
A skeptic.
at least of the two of us, the more skeptical one.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to believe in this stuff. I like reading about it. I like watching stuff about it and experiencing it because it's spooky. But I don't genuinely believe it.
Yeah.
But even if I was to accept that ghosts are real in some form, which it could be true. I mean, I don't think it'd be what we think they are. But let's say, for the sake of argument, that I think to some extent they exist. I don't think they can hurt you.
No.
No. I know there's a couple of stories people claim to have been pushed and they like fall down something like that. But, very vague. I don't know. Most stuff people see is very non-harmful.
Yeah.
Scary, but not harmful. And I think that's kind of where we're at
I'd
with it.
hate to be pestered by a ghost.
Would you?
I mean, you know, you've seen them stupid videos where it's like, it's obviously a setup and that, where they're like, you know, messing about with cabinets and that. And I'm like, that'd piss me the fuck off.
Yeah.
That'd absolutely
drawers
do
open
my
and
head
closing
in.
all
I'm
the
like,
time,
look, what are you doing? Just hang out. Look, what do you want to watch? We'll put something on telly. Just chill out, will you? Slamming bloody cabinets.
Don't want no poltergeist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like stuff like that, or like things being moved. I'm like, oh, don't bother me. Just hang out.
Just hang out. Get some good pictures and stuff. Right.
Okay.
That's all we have for ghosts.
That's all for ghosts.
There's not a whole lot for ghosts
No.
this time. So we're moving on to UFOs. And as
The
is
chunky bit.
usual, it tends to take up a lot of time because UFOs are the biggest story of recent times, really. So, I mean, another month, another new whistleblower.
Oh, that's how it goes.
New guy. So here's a story. One UAP whistleblower says UFO retrieval program exists.
We've already had one saying this,
We've
right?
had someone saying this is a new person saying it.
A new person saying it.
And there's more to it. I'll read through the story and we'll get into it. Source is News Nation.
News Nation.
Okay. A U.S. Air Force veteran believes he was involved in the recovery of alien technology while working for a long-rumored secret UFO retrieval program.
Wow.
I scrolled too far.
You've gone too far, Sam.
In an exclusive interview with News Nation, whistleblower Jake Barber said he was contracted as a helicopter pilot to retrieve all kinds of downed craft, some of which he believes are of non-human origin.
Ooh.
Quote, just visually looking at the object on the ground, you could tell that it was extraordinary and anomalous, Barber told News Nation's Ross Coulthard. It was not human. When asked to describe the object, Barber said, quote, I saw an egg, a white egg. He added,
Egg?
An egg.
An egg.
He added, it's inconsistent with anything I'd ever seen before. I can also tell you that the reaction by my team, we all knew we were dealing with something extraordinary. Over the last couple of years, it's been confirmed to me by ranking members of the UAP task force that what we were working with that night was in fact non-human intelligence. And it was not a unique experience, Barber said. 3 high-level military veterans are backing up Barber's story on the record and on the record and on camera to News Nation.
Mm-hmm.
The All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, ARROW, told News Nation it is aware of the claim. Department of Defense spokesperson Sue Goff, however it's pronounced, said in a statement, quote, has not... someone, I guess the Department of Defense, has not discovered any verifiable evidence, any verifiable information to substantiate claims that any programs regarding the possession or reverse engineering of extraterrestrial materials have existed in the past or exist currently.
Right.
Okay? As they always say,
Yeah.
people keep asking them, they keep saying that, but then people keep coming forward.
Yeah.
There is a video here, so...
Oh.
In this News Nation report with Jake Barber, there's a long 2-hour interview. I've not listened to all of it.
Oh gosh.
So there's more information if you want to hear more.
Yeah.
Where he talks about this crash retrieval And they also released a video of one of the retrievals. Apparently, despite it being the same type of craft, looking the same, apparently this is not the same incident that he's talking about, but it's very similar. Okay. So, obviously, I know this is an audio podcast and you can't see it, but I will put the link in the description. So, we're going to watch the video now.
Ooh, goody.
So we have a little idea of what we're looking at.
Okay.
So, we're just opening it up. Thank you, YouTube. Oh, I'm going to mute it because we don't really need any audio.
Okay.
And let me get to the actual video. Because this has been floating around on Twitter since this came out. So here we have, you see, it's sort of like a night vision. You can't tell what it is. It looks like maybe grass, a long rope, which is supposed to be on the end of a helicopter with like a harness cradling what they claim is an egg-shaped craft.
Wow.
It's putting it down wherever this is.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. But this is... See, the problem is when they say, oh, we're going to bring out a video of a crash retrieval, right? And you see something like this. It's very short. It's just like the egg on this harness, on this rope, and it puts it on the ground, and that's it. There's nothing really else there. And when they bring these things out, you think, oh, this is a conclusive proof, right?
Yeah.
This is it. And you look at it and it's like, there is no reference point for anything. You have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
There's no idea of scale. This could be a little rope
on
something with an actual egg. Taped to it. You don't really know.
Yeah, you've got no, like, perspective.
No. So, the reason we're given to believe Mr. Jake Barber is...
Mr. Jake Barber.
Supposedly, I mean, we haven't seen it ourselves. This is what journalists do, right? They vet people.
Yeah.
So, in theory, what they've done is they vetted him and seen that he is who he says he is. He did work where he said he worked, or he does. Currently, I'm not sure if he still works there. And that he's like a professional person.
Yeah.
And so he's a credible witness, and he, in theory, wouldn't lie about this kind of stuff, right? In theory. Mm-hmm. So you sort of think, okay, fair enough. But why are the videos they put out always, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, no video they're going to put out, I don't think there's anything they could put out that everyone would be like, oh, this is it.
Yeah.
There's always going to be doubts. But you could surely have a more believable.
Yeah.
That sounds harsh. Because, for all we know, that video was a genuine crash retrieval of a non-human craft.
But we've no way of telling.
No. I couldn't look at that and say, oh, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I couldn't honestly say that because...
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't really know. And here's the thing. Okay, so I've been thinking about this a bit recently because this is a big thing in the whole UFO thing, right? There's two sides to it, which tends to get referred to as the nuts and bolts, which is non-human intelligence from wherever, whether it be aliens or something that was already here that we didn't know about or whatever. And it has craft and they fly about and they abduct people or whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
And then there's what people refer to as the woo.
The woo?
The woo.
Woo.
And the woo always... I'm more of a nuts and bolts guy. The woo always gets it for me. So for example, this one...
Yeah.
In the longer interview with Jake Barber, he says that craft that they retrieved exists because they had someone psionically call it there. Someone with psychic abilities, and apparently and they can control it, and they can call the craft there and then control them.
Right.
And he says that, I'm like, I don't know about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's that, and there's a lot of religions mixed in with this.
Yeah.
When we talk about it, it's not the thing they lead with for good reason. Like it'll put people off. People like to hear more nuts and bolts.
Yeah.
But then you go deeper, and they always start talking about things about how it's connected to religion and angels and demons and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then I even saw a thing. I think it was yesterday. I was reading. Someone said something about with UFOs or with like a UFO encounter. Some person, not a whistleblower, I don't think, but a supposed insider claimed that if you said Jesus Christ during it, they'll go away. And I'm like,
Oh, right.
so I really don't believe that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. This comes up so often
Yeah.
in this that I think it would be a mistake to dismiss it entirely,
Right.
the sort of woo aspect of it.
Yeah.
But the impression I get is that it's like the reason people came up with religions in the first place, right? It's a way to explain things that you don't understand,
Yeah.
right?
And like put your mind at ease.
Right. So what I think is I mean, there's that, I can't remember who said it. There's like a quote of a sufficiently advanced technology would be indistinguishable from magic,
Yeah.
right? So these things, in theory, if we're what they think they
Yeah.
are so incredibly advanced from
Yeah.
us, like thousands of years more advanced than us,
Yeah.
that what we're seeing is essentially to us indistinguishable to magic.
Yeah.
And therefore we're using magic terminology to try and explain
Yeah.
it, because we can't possibly comprehend it or understand it, right? So that's the way I'm looking at it. So when they start bringing up these woo things, in my mind, that's how I'm justifying that, is that I'm not
It's
dismissing
just
it,
so
I'm accepting it.
advanced,
It's just that the reasoning behind it, I'm thinking it's different.
Yeah.
But I think the issue with that is, okay, so like I said, these journalists are vetting these people, and they're supposedly professionals and they're trustworthy people or whatever. And a lot of these people, the reason they're in the positions they're in is because they're well educated and well informed. So I'm saying that, but who am I to say that they just don't understand it? So they're trying to explain it with magic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't really know. People are going to make up their own mind,
Yeah.
which is fair enough. But if you ask my opinion, that's what I think.
Yeah.
Because I think the thing itself, as we've gone on, more and more, it's become very evident that life is nuts and bolts.
Yeah.
Things can be explained. Doesn't mean things aren't incredible. And there's some amazing things out there, and it's like really complex and interesting. But there is still a logic to it, and it can be explained.
Yeah.
And I think, so I think the reason for the woos are maybe different to what people tend to be saying, but that's my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that one. Definitely.
What do you think of the video?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you were saying, like there's no reference points for you to know the scale or anything. I need a banana for scale.
You need banana for scale, yeah. So, I mean, what do you think about another whistleblower coming out? This is, so we had most recent, the biggest most recent one was David Grush. We talked about him a few months ago.
Yeah.
He come out and saying crash retrieval, all these things, even how he referred to it was biologics. The implication is bodies, but he's intentionally not said bodies, presumably because it implies it's maybe not quite that simple.
Right.
You got Lou Elizondo, who we talked about, who he had a bit that funny thing with that was just a reflection of a chandelier, or everybody said it was a mothership. Whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's Ryan Graves and all these other people, all these Air Force military professionals, in theory, coming forward. There's regularly new ones coming out.
Yeah.
And if you believe the people in the UFO world, they're saying there are more out there that want to come forward. They need more whistleblower protections, though. It keeps happening. How many of these? I mean, are these people all just lying for attention? You know what I mean? I don't think many of them are getting much money out of it. So what is the reason to be coming forward if it's not genuine?
Yeah.
It's
a good point.
Unless there's always the option that it is misinformation.
Maybe.
They're coming forward to whistleblow. Really, they've been told, go out there, tell people this will distract them with this so we can get on with this other thing. You know what I mean? Possibly.
For it to be like easily discredited or something.
Yeah. That's the problem in this world of like lying and subterfuge and spying and what have you.
Yeah.
Is that you have no idea who's telling the truth.
Yeah.
You can't possibly know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know, but I don't think this will be the last whistleblower we hear of.
I doubt it will be. Yeah. What about the psionic abilities? Do you think they called it? No, I take it you don't think they called it the ship psychically.
I would like to believe that. I want to believe, Sam.
There's another whistleblower, documentarian James Fox,
Yeah.
put out a documentary recently called The Program.
Okay.
And he had another guy in there who came out a little bit earlier than that as a whistleblower. But he was also in that and he told his story, and he was recently on Joe Rogan as well.
Okay.
So this guy, his initial story is one I like. So he, again, military, whatever, he works as part of the UFO task force as well, I think.
Yeah.
He was apparently in sort of a convoy of military vehicles on this military base in the US. And he's in one of the vehicles. He's not driving, but he's a passenger, like behind the driver, I think he said, or something like that.
Okay.
And they're driving along, and he sees some guy in a military uniform with a very pale blue face, and he's out there like, and he's thinking, oh, this guy's got hypothermia or something.
Yeah.
Something's gone with this guy. We need to stop and help him. So they stop the car, and he's getting out to go help him. See, you guys, are you okay? Give him his jacket or whatever. And apparently, one of the other people in the car then shouts, "He's got no effing ears." And he's like,
What the fuck?
And he looks at him, and this guy's quite tall, no ears, pale blue face,
Yeah.
slightly too big eyes.
Right.
He's in this military uniform, but despite being out in the desert where it's all dusty and stuff, his uniform's pristine.
Right.
And
oh God, it'd freak me out if someone shouted he's got no effing ears.
And this guy's like communicating with him, but he's not. I can't remember. I'm trying to remember. Did he say if he said he wasn't talking, or if he was, but it was language he didn't understand, but somehow he was still understanding it? So there's a level of telepathic communication going on.
Right.
Where he's asking him for a certain material to fix his ship, when apparently he also sold the ship. Apparently, this is what he's saying.
Right.
And he didn't know what material he was asking for, and he said, "Oh well, there's this." There was a geologist or something, metallurgist, I think he said, in the nearest town. Maybe he can help you. And then this guy said, "Oh, fair enough then." And then off he went.
Off he went.
And apparently then he got back in the car and he started driving off. And everyone else was in some kind of state where they weren't like knocked out, but no one was saying anything. And then they all kind of quietly went back to the base, and most of them didn't really say much. I didn't remember much about the incident afterwards.
Oh.
Whereas he apparently remembered it.
Wow.
So I don't know whether I believe it, but I like that. Like, that's a cool.
That is a cool
alien
story.
encounter
Yeah.
That's the kind of story I like.
Yeah.
The problem is, he tells more, and then he goes on to, you keep listening to him, and he has more stories, and he goes on, and it turns into more woo stuff.
Right.
And it gets very kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And he even, I think, if I remember correctly, he started talking about how he was also tasked to, like, he was shooting, like, enemy aliens, like, he full on, like, fighting them and stuff.
Was
and
he
I'm
just
like,
playing?
what's going on now? You know what I mean? When he tells me that story alone, I said, I don't know if I believe it, but I'm like, that's a cool story. Who knows what? Maybe something did happen. It's not like he's got tons of these stories. It's just his one story. But no, he has got tons of stories, and it gets even more wacky. And I'm like,
yeah.
Well, that kind of just makes me believe you less.
Yeah. Less is more, my
guy. But then
guy.
again, maybe it's all true.
Maybe he was just playing Space Invaders.
That's a lot to cover up. You know what I mean? If
oh, yeah, this guy's just yapping away about it.
You know what I mean? That's another whistleblower coming out saying this stuff. I don't know. Anyway, that's not a story. That's just something I thought I'd bring up because it's relevant.
Yeah.
Do you have any last thoughts before we move on?
No, let's go.
All right, then. Next story. Here's the headline. Trump says New Jersey drones were authorized after suggesting Biden kept public in suspense. The source is ABC News. The White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, said the mysterious drones flown across New Jersey in late 2024 were, quote, authorized to be flown by the FAA in the first press briefing of Donald Trump's second administration. Quote, I do have news directly from the President of the United States that was just shared with me in the Oval Office. From President Trump directly, an update on the New Jersey drones, Leavitt said. After research and study, the drones that were flying over New Jersey in large numbers were authorized to be flown by the FAA for research and various other reasons. Many of these drones were also hobbyists, recreational and private individuals that enjoy flying drones, she added. In time, it got worse due to curiosity. This was not the enemy. In December, Trump suggested the Biden administration knew more than it was revealing to the public about the drones, which were spotted throughout the East Coast. Though Levitt did not say whether the drones spotted outside New Jersey were all lawful. I don't know that we really need to. The rest, it's just going over stuff we'd already heard. Basically, Trump's apparently said that they're not aliens.
Yeah.
That they were like FAA authorized drones who were flying over for whatever reason.
Yeah. Mixed
with some hobbyists.
Yeah.
Now, every person I've heard talk about this had said that's bullshit. So the question is, whether or not you like Trump, that's not relevant here. We're not talking politics.
Yeah.
One thing I think we can all agree on is Trump would be the most likely to just spill the beans about something like this.
Yeah, probably.
Right? So if Trump's saying this, does that suggest either... If Trump's saying this and it's not true, does that suggest either that he's not quite as open as we think and he's also keeping a secret?
Yeah.
Or is it that they don't trust him and they've told him this and said, oh no, this is it. So he said what he's been told.
Yeah.
But that's not it.
I bet it's
so
that
the person who's supposed to be the leader of one of those powerful countries in the world.
Yeah.
In theory, he should be told everything, right?
Yeah.
But if there's people who basically if you're not telling him, you're suggesting that the president of the United States does not have the clearance to know the truth about this. And it's above him. Right? So that's quite a serious suggestion to make. This is the person that, whether we like it or not, the majority of the people in the US have elected. They said, we want this person to lead the country now. So they put their faith in him, and yet these people have decided that's not good enough to be able to tell him this information.
Yeah.
And do they say that? Is that the same with every president?
Maybe.
You know what I mean? If this is a secret and a cover-up that's been going on for years and years and years, is it so deeply ingrained that they think the whole thing is that they just don't tell them, and none of them ever really know?
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think? Do you think he's right about the drones? Do you think they are whatever the FAA is? I don't actually know what that stands for, but basically a government authorized thing to happen. Or do you think there's more to it?
No, I think there's more to it.
Yeah.
I think, like you were saying, I think he's probably been told that.
Yeah.
Because, like you say, like, it seems like the sort of person that would just say it.
Just say it, yeah.
So, and I think them knowing that will probably just give him this bogus story. I think it's bullshit.
So, apparently, again, I think this might have been a Joe Rogan thing where he had a guest on, and he was saying how they'd spoken to someone. They'd said something about one of the drones going down near an airport or something, and he'd spoken to someone who was on a train when they said that, going past the airport. And he was on the phone with him and saying, well, I know they're saying that, but I'm looking at it right now, and it doesn't look like a government drone. Like, you know how I'd said to you last month, I think, about the drone story, how some people were saying someone with the size of SUVs. Yeah. And apparently a big ass car. Yeah. Apparently, I think if I remember correctly, he'd said it did have propellers, like it was. Yeah. But it's the size of it. They don't make drones that big. Like, it's insane.
That's a big drone,
It's a big drone. So I don't know. It's just strange. And they never mention anymore. We talked about it because it's when it kicked off. It first kicked off in the UK, around US bases in the UK. Yeah. And then it spread over to the US. Yeah. That's never brought up anymore. But that is where it started. Yeah. And we were in on the ground floor for that. Yeah. So... And I drive past the US military base to work every day. Ooh. I didn't see any drones, though. So
I'll keep you're looking at the road, though.
I'll keep my eye out. I'll keep my eye out. All right,
one eye on the road, one eye on the sky.
All right, let's move on. This next story is the headline: Steven Spielberg's new UFO movie hyped by writer David Koepp.
Oh,
saucy CBR.
Bet me dad's right on that.
You'll be enjoying that, yeah. Steven Spielberg is set to return to the science fiction genre for the first time since 2018's Ready Player One.
Oh, what a film! What a film! What a book! Brilliant. Sorry.
With The Dish, which I
read. The Dish.
what it says is a working title of the movie. I actually read yesterday it's been changed to Disclosure.
Ooh, that's better.
A new
The
movie.
dish.
The dish. Yeah.
Like a satellite dish.
I'm assuming so, yeah. A new movie written by David Koepp.
Koepp.
I don't know if that's how it's pronounced, but that's how it looks. The screenwriter recently opened up about the dish and why fans should look forward to the new Spielberg feature. Koepp recently touched on collaborating with Steven Spielberg in his new movie, The Dish, while speaking with The Wrap about the 25th anniversary of his movie Stir of Echoes, which he wrote and directed. Quote, "I am so not allowed to say anything."
Are you going to say something though?
Joking that, "I think deep down it bothers Steven that I've read the script." The screenwriter also confirmed a recent production report stating that The Dish, which is the movie's working title, would begin production in February 2025. That's where we are right now. The principal photography scheduled to take place in Atlanta, Georgia. The principal photography scheduled to take place in Atlanta, Georgia. The Dish is the first Koepp script that Spielberg has directed since 2008's Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, the fourth installment in the beloved action-adventure series starring Harrison Ford.
That's a controversial one, isn't it? Mixed
a
opinions.
little bit, yeah. While Koepp continued to not to reveal any concrete details about the movie, he opened up about how the project came together. Quote, "It's great because it's an original. It was his idea, his story, and working on originals is really fun," Koepp said.
Ooh.
"It's not that different from Presents in that, okay, you have an idea, you can't help but think, oh, what other movies might be like this? Just to kind of get your bearings. You're not trying to imitate them. You just, where does this fit in my cinema knowledge?" He continued. "And then you're solving the demands and problems of that kind of movie. You're still just texting and emailing back and forth with the director a lot and doing rewrites and trying to get it right. And then you make it, whether it's $2 million budget or $100 million, it's the same. The Dish will be headlined by Emily Blunt, who recently appeared in Christopher Nolan's 2023 biopic Oppenheimer, and David Leitch's Leitch 2024 action rom-com The Fall Guy. Rounding out the ensemble cast for the sci-fi movie are Josh O'Connor, Coleman Domingo, Wyatt Russell, Colin Firth, and Eve Hewson.
Ooh.
What do you think about that?
I am actually very excited about that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm sure that'd be cool because
That'll be a cinema go, that.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Obviously, Spielberg's notably been into UFOs for a long time.
Yeah.
Having done Close Encounters of the Third Kind and E.T.
Yeah.
So he's like big into that stuff.
Yeah.
And, well, E.T., not that I didn't enjoy it, but over the years I've felt more mixed on that. But Close Encounters is a really good film.
I've not seen Close Encounters.
Oh, we should watch that as well then.
But they referenced it in Casper.
Yeah.
I think Casper meets Wendy.
It's been a bit since I watched Casper. I don't really remember.
Casper.
And
the one with never mind. Oh, Hilary Duff.
Right.
Casper meets Wendy. Love that film. I swear they do like a Close Encounters reference in that.
Possibly, yeah.
But that's it. I haven't seen it. We should watch it.
Yeah, we'll definitely watch
it. But
yeah,
I'm excited for that, and I wonder if my dad knows about that, because if not, I'll have something to tell him.
Yeah, let him know. And I think it's interesting that they've renamed it Disclosure.
Yeah.
That maybe suggests a couple other things about the film, that it's maybe inspired by recent events.
Yeah.
The term disclosure has been thrown around a lot recently. So
yeah.
So I think that may
I much prefer the name Disclosure.
To The Dish.
To The Dish.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason that was a working title.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
Okay.
Here's a headline. Could an alien signal reach Earth by 2029? Scientists say it's still a possibility.
Still a possibility.
Sources of The Debrief.
Oh.
Over 5 decades ago, in 1973, NASA sent a radio signal to the Pioneer 10 probe that eventually reached a white dwarf star. Between 1980 and 1983, similar transmissions were sent to Voyager 2, which launched in 1977 and eventually reached a brown dwarf star located 24 light-years away in 2007. Now, new findings by a group of scientists at the University of California, Berkeley, and the University of California, UCLA, have delved more deeply into data collected from these distant NASA probes currently operating in deep space. Along with Pioneer 10, transmissions from Voyager 1, Voyager 2, Pioneer 11? Yes. And New Horizons. I was trying to think if that was meant to be 2.
Like Roman numerals.
Yeah, but then I was like, no, it was Pioneer 10, so it will be 11.
Yeah.
And New Horizons were also mapped to track where these signals might have spread after their release into deep space. Specifically, the researchers predicted that if extraterrestrial life exists near the brown dwarf star that could have intercepted earthly messages in 2007, a response to the original Voyager 2 signal could arrive by sometime in the 2030s.
Oh, close.
Yeah. Based on this possibility, in a paper first released in 2023, the team compiled a list of additional stars and planets that might be likely to encounter an earthly signal over time. This is a famous idea from Carl Sagan, who used it as a plot theme in the movie Contact, which we've also got to watch.
Yep.
Lead researcher Howard Isaacson, a UC Berkeley astronomer, said at the time of the initial paper's publication. Following up on the prospective timeline the team put forward in their paper, Isaacson recently offered additional details on his team's research in an email to the debrief. Quote, our estimates for when we might expect an answer from an alien civilization are based upon the length of time required for our radio signals traveling at the speed of light to reach the nearest star that is in their path, Isaacson said. The Earth is constantly transmitting radio signals, but we focused on those that were used to communicate with NASA spacecraft such as the famous Voyager spacecraft. That civilization would then have to send their own signal at the speed of light, and it would take time to travel back to us, Isaacson explained. The duration of light travel, the duration of light travel time to that star and back to us, it results in a return data in 2029. We made this calculation using astronomical mapping data from the most precise measurements of star positions ever conducted, those from the Gaia space mission, he added. This analysis gives Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, SETI, researchers a more focused group of stars to study, said Riley Derrick, a UCLA researcher and lead author of the 2023 paper. Our measurements and calculations still hold true, the same as 2 years ago, Isaacson confirmed. Many SETI searches take a wide-angle approach, targeting thousands of stars because it's difficult to know where to look for something never previously observed. So, what do you think about that?
That's quite interesting.
Yeah. That means right now, we're in a clear, but from 2029 all the way through for the next 5 or 10 years after that, at any point, in theory, if an alien civilization on another planet near where Voyager went, or one of the other Pioneer probes, received one of our signals and decided to send a response, assuming they sent it in a similar way to us, that's when we should expect the response to arrive back. So I hope they're looking.
I hope they're looking.
Because that would be interesting.
I don't think any of them are interested in our planet.
Imagine they send that response, right? Because you know how the Earth, orbits the sun. So I imagine they send a response and they're aiming it, but they're just slightly off, and we're sort of there, and then a response is coming, and then we just go around. Oh, it just misses us. Oh no. That'd be bad. That.
Good.
Surely they'd account for that. You'd hope so. I don't want to miss it.
I don't miss it.
But I mean, you have to be so precise with this stuff.
Yeah.
It's really hard to do because these things aren't stationary.
Yeah.
They're constantly moving.
Yeah.
Even if it's not just the Earth around the sun's moving as well.
Yeah.
The whole galaxy's moving.
Yeah.
So we're not in the same place we were.
I don't think
10 years
be
ago.
a bit difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tricky.
It's for
Tricky
other people.
business.
It's for people smarter than us to figure out. But I think that's exciting that we could receive response from an alien civilization.
Yeah. Wow.
Very exciting.
Indeed.
Okay, that's what we have for UFOs.
Well, that's it for UFOs.
That's it for UFOs. And we're on to the classic
Ooh,
cryptozoology.
Cryptozoology.
Oh, yes. Here we go.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. Here's the headline. BC man's Sasquatch-seeking expeditions used against him in spousal support case.
Oh, I remember you mentioning this briefly, and I was like, don't tell me anymore, save it for the podcast.
So the source is CTV News.
Okay. I'm ready.
Right. A man's ongoing efforts to track down the elusive Sasquatch in remote areas of British Columbia suggest he's capable of working and therefore not entitled to spousal support, a judge has ruled. The unusual circumstances were detailed in a recent divorce decision handed down in BC Supreme Court, which makes multiple references to the 57-year-old's Sasquatch-seeking expeditions. His wife told the court he went on a camping trip in Vancouver Island that month in search of the mythical ape-like creature and brought along an ex-girlfriend without telling her.
Oh, no.
I don't know what BC is.
In British Columbia?
Yeah, you're probably right.
You mentioned British
It
Columbia.
just said did I?
What? Yeah.
I didn't even I didn't connect the two. I don't know what BC is other than like in terms of time.
No,
Time frame, people say before
no,
Christ.
Yeah. I don't remember the context in which you said BC, but you did mention it was in British Columbia.
Right. So Canada, we're looking at, Okay, the respondent was extremely upset by this, Justice Robin Baird wrote in his January 17th decision. Before the claimant returned home, she fired off a text to him declaring that their marriage was over and she never changed her mind.
Good girl.
The husband's claim for spousal support also hinged on him being unable to work due to a mishap that occurred during a previous Sasquatch outing years earlier.
Oh, God.
The court heard he was staying at a hotel in Saywood, a tiny village of around 300 people on northeast Vancouver Island, when he slipped on an icy staircase and fell in January 2016, suffering a range of injuries including fractures to the ankle and vertebrae. That unfortunate incident led to chronic and sometimes severe pain that continues to this day, the court heard. But Baird was ultimately not convinced the husband was left totally disabled by the accident or that he cannot earn income from employment of some kind or other, partly because of his ongoing Sasquatch-related endeavours.
Oh, God. Poor woman must be absolutely done with Sasquatch.
The claimant continues to enjoy camping, fishing, hunting, riding quad motorcycles, and exploring remote areas of BC in search of Sasquatch.
And this is after his incident, his
judge
accident.
wrote. This is after, yeah.
So, but he can't work, but he's
Apparently
doing
not.
all this shit.
That's what he says.
Ah, yeah.
Baird also noticed that the husband testified with some pride at being designated a gifted student in school and had made it clear that he rates his own intellectual abilities to be far above average, something the judge found could help him find a job if he sought one. I accept that he is no longer suited to work requiring a lot of physical strength or stamina, he added, but he told me himself that he has made no effort since 2016 to seek or secure employment in lighter or more sedentary occupations, or to retrain for better paying, low impact jobs in keeping with his superior intellect and aptitudes. The judge also found the husband's evidence to support his medical condition dated, as it was the same he'd used while applying for federal disability pension 6 years ago in 2018.
Wow.
The husband was approved for that pension, which is now supplemented by provincial assistance payments. He also received a $350,000 settlement for his injuries in the Saywood Hotel, according to the decision.
No way.
Baird approved the couple's divorce effective 30 days after the judgment without awarding spousal support or legal costs to either party. So, not actually about Bigfoot himself,
Yeah.
but related, and I thought it was funny that he was like, no, I can't work, but he's just out hunting for Bigfoot.
Yeah, in like very physically demanding ways as well.
Well,
Like,
as we discussed last month.
Look, if you're gonna be on benefits, my guy.
Yeah. As we discussed last month, a couple of people died hunting for Bigfoot, and we said last month, like, it's dangerous. You have to be careful if you're gonna do that.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, go for it, but you have to be careful. So, if you were physically disabled, you probably shouldn't be out hunting for Bigfoot, to be honest with you.
With an ex-girlfriend as well, was it?
Yeah, I know.
Fucking hell.
She wasn't happy about that one.
No, I'm not fucking surprised.
No.
She's already had to put up with him doing all this fucking Sasquatch shit, which she's clearly not okay with. Like, he's bothering her. But then find out that he's going with an ex-girlfriend as well.
I wonder if he ever found him. Sasquatch.
Maybe that is the ex-girlfriend.
What do you think Bigfoot sounds like?
Hello.
You think he speaks?
Maybe. I think he
this-
sounds very similar to Bailey.
This is like the UFO thing, right? As in, there's nuts and bolts and there's woo.
Yeah.
Sasquatch, in the nuts and bolts thing, is just like a missing like primate species that we haven't fully discovered.
Yeah.
In the woo version, is some kind of interdimensional being that
I'm all woo, baby. I'm all
You're
woo.
all woo about this. I think people have said, what? People have been Bigfoot hunting. I think in search of Bigfoot TV show.
Yeah.
The supposed recordings of them, and there's like whooping noises, I think.
Whooping.
Like whoop,
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 whoop.
whoop.
So
Probably another guy in Leeds that does that.
probably. So I think that's what people say Bigfoot sounds like, but
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe he's completely silent.
maybe.
Maybe he just makes monkey noises.
Maybe.
You know.
Maybe makes Bailey noises.
Maybe he does. All right, let's move on. Yeah. This one's gonna be
Oh,
interesting.
go on.
This is gonna be a controversial opinion.
Oh, ayo.
Well, sort of. Headline is Oxford scientist says Bigfoot is not real, but aliens might exist.
Sounds like something you'd say.
Uh,
Not about Bigfoot, though. About ghosts.
here's the source.
Sam says ghosts are not real, but aliens might be.
Yeah. Source is the Oxford Mail. Professor Tim Coulson, a leading biologist, has claimed creatures such as the abominable snowman are, quote, pure fantasy. He said their existence is scientifically impossible and that cryptozoologists should stop wasting their time searching for them.
Wow.
What a hater.
Why are we giving this man a platform? Shut him up.
The absence of both skeletal remains and credible imagery are strong and reliable indicators these creatures are not real and never were, according to Professor Coulson. He added evolutionary timelines drive a big and very final nail into cryptids' coffins. For example, Bigfoot's only possible ancestors are humans who did not reach the Americas from Africa until around 1600 years ago. Now, first of all, before I go further, I take umbrage with that. He's saying Bigfoot's only possible ancestors are humans. Humans would not be ancestors of Bigfoot. We exist simultaneously.
Yeah.
We would have a common ancestor,
Yeah.
like we do with other apes.
Yeah.
So that's not right. And also he says, and we didn't reach the Americas until around 1600 years ago. Who says Bigfoot's from America?
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, people have seen him in America, but who says that's where he originated? Right? So I'm not saying he's necessarily wrong. I'm just saying that's not a valid...
Look, he's already pissed us off.
Yeah.
We're on the defensive now,
Exactly,
Sam.
yeah. This is not nearly long enough for a human to evolve into a giant gorilla-type beast. Well, as we just said, you don't need that because we're not...
Yeah.
They didn't evolve from us.
Yeah.
What a silly man.
Silly man.
Similarly, for plesiosaur or other type of dinosaurs to have survived extinction in Loch Ness, there would need to have been a breeding population of several hundred individuals living there for at least 66 million years. Now, this is another thing. So there's a lot of, in terms of cryptozoology, obviously Bigfoot and Loch Ness Monster are like the main ones that people are aware of. There's a lots of supposed living dinosaurs. One of the other most famous being Mokele and Bembe. They're supposedly from the Congo in Africa.
Okay.
Now, so when people talk about, there's no way it could be that Nessie could be a plesiosaur or that Mokele and Bembe could be like a stegosaurus or something like that.
Yeah.
Because that's so big and it wouldn't just be one because it was millions of years ago. It'd have to be a population. And I'm like, well, this is exactly it, right?
Yeah.
So when the dinosaurs were wiped out, the generally accepted idea is it was the meteorite, right? But the meteorite itself didn't just instantly wipe everything out. It killed a lot of stuff probably, but it was more that like triggered a series of, events like earthquakes and volcanoes and stuff that, and an artificial winter where the clouds of crap from the volcanoes and that the meteorite brought up. Covered the earth and had an artificial winter, blocked out the sun and that, okay? So it's not like it was one event and then boom, everything was wiped out. It happened gradually.
Yeah.
So the idea of things existing like these, at least as far as I'm concerned, the idea of justifying why it's real is not that it's, there's one plesiosaur that somehow survived and then lived for 60 million years.
Yeah.
And he's just living in Scotland. It's not that simple. It's that there was a pocket of a small but just enough of them to survive, to not completely die out.
Yeah.
And that over the 60 million years, they have continued to evolve and adapt to their environment.
Yeah.
And now no longer look exactly like a
Like,
plesiosaur,
yeah.
exactly like a stegosaurus, but are evidently something separate from
Yeah.
everything we currently know exists,
Yeah.
right? That's how I think of it.
Yeah.
So when they say things like this, saying, "Oh, there's no way a plesiosaur could have survived 66 million years," like, yeah, I know that's not necessarily what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that suggests to me that they've not really thought about it. They're just dismissing it
Yeah.
outright. Which, I mean, I understand why. Don't get me wrong. I'm not expecting to be super into the idea that there could
Yeah.
genuinely be a plesiosaur in Loch Ness. But it just suggests to me that he's not actually understood what people are trying to say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're just breaking down this guy's thing here now because he's been a bit of a poo-poo head.
A bit of a poo-poo head about it, yeah. That's the attitude he's got.
Professor Coulson said the scientific likelihood of the creature's existence is so tiny as to be confidently discounted. He said, quote, "I would dearly love for Bigfoot, Yeti, the Loch Ness Monster, and other cryptids to exist, but the scientific evidence says otherwise."
It doesn't sound like he'd love for them to exist. It sounds like he's a hater.
It is a bit of a hater. The likelihood of such beasts living undetected in forests, mountains, and lakes in great numbers for thousands of years without leaving a single skeleton, fossil, bone fragment, or skin sample is hard enough to swallow. Now, Nessie may be a bit different because it's not exactly that remote, but a lot of these things that are supposed to exist are living in very remote. The reason you use rainforests or like the Congo or whatever, is because there's not a lot of people there.
Yeah.
And it's anything that dies there, like your skeletons, are quickly overgrown by plants and stuff like. And unless you excavate the whole site, you don't see it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they necessarily do. Again, I don't know. We don't know. We just like to read about it and find out. But I'm saying his justification for why it don't exist kind of suggests he's not really looked into the reasons people suggest they think they might exist. All I'm saying is he needs to think about it a bit more.
Think about it a bit more.
Anyway, he continues the quote, "But when we also consider the biological and evolutionary factors that determine these species' purported existence and long-term survival, the likelihood reduces to the point where it becomes so tiny as to be confidently discounted as pure fantasy and fun figments of our imagination."
Wow.
However, while the existence of large cryptids is unlikely, Professor Coulson argues alien life is a real possibility. Writing in the European magazine, he said, "The problem we have at the moment is we don't know how to explore more of our universe quickly and easily, because we have only explored a fraction of even our local neighborhood. It is much too early to rule out the existence of aliens, be they simple bacteria-like organisms or little green beasts with long necks and oversized heads." See,
What if they're one in the same? What if Bigfoot is actually an alien that just stops by every once in a while in his little spaceship?
who knows? See,
Then what would he say?
he's that end there where he's willing to accept that aliens could exist. His justification for that is valid. It's like, fair enough, yeah. It's far too early to say we don't know.
Yeah.
We've barely explored a lot of this place. It could happen. It could only be microbial, or there could be a more advanced life out there. We don't really know, and he's not willing to dismiss that. And he's obviously put more thought into that, because the same justifications of why he says that might exist kind of also work for some of these cryptids.
Yeah.
Again, the Congo, not that well explored.
No.
Not that many people in there. Again, it may not exist, but that doesn't, like, they're finding thousands of new species of things in the Amazon rainforest all the time. Now, they're only small and slight variations of stuff. They're not like a big thing. And a bigger species that's undiscovered is much rarer. But it's not completely unheard of, you know?
Yeah.
Especially underwater, they're finding species of fish they didn't know about.
Yeah.
Every now and then, and not that small. I know it's harder on land. We've explored a lot more of the land, but still, not everywhere is completely explored. There's a lot of remote locations still in the world. And I think, you know what I mean? I think it's worth just having a little go at this guy, because I think he's been a bit too dismissive. and then for the same reasons he's dismissed the other ones, he's not willing to dismiss aliens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Can't pick and choose, my guy.
Anyway, that guy's a hater. So let's move on.
Hater's gonna hate.
Geneticist from the University of Otago in New Zealand reveals plans for new search to solve Nessie mystery.
Oh.
The source for this is the Inverness Courier. A new search to solve the Loch Ness Monster mystery is being planned by the scientists who revealed Nessie could be a giant eel. In 2019, Professor Neil Gemmell, a scientist from the University of Otago in New Zealand, trawled Loch Ness and found no evidence of plesiosaur DNA. However, he found lots of eel DNA and posited that there may be giant eels in Loch Ness, which might be behind the Nessie sightings. Unfortunately, DNA gives no indication of size. Now, Professor Gemmell hopes to conduct a new survey to dig deeper into the mystery. Reflecting on the project to the biotech company Illumina, the geneticist responded to critics that the study was too small by conceding that, quote, sampling a few hundreds of cubic litres of water is not much in a lake which is estimated to have something like 10 million. Professor Gemmell argued that the survey was a promising first step and put forward his ambitions for a second environmental DNA examination of the site using a wholly different method. Quote, the power is rarely unlocked when we go back and sample serially over time, he explained. Then we can see if things are changing and presumably develop a wealth of new data. Professor Gemmell is currently seeking sponsorship for Loch Ness 2.0, in which he plans to use shotgun sequencing rather than targeted sequencing, which can show the proportional change in species population over time. The data could track the spread of new pathogens in the area and be used to make informed predictions about the ecosystem's future health. He says he doesn't expect to find a monster, but that an updated collection system could accomplish two goals: shedding further light on the unknown while serving as a proof of concept that similar studies could be done at scale to help conservationists understand the biodiversity of ecosystems around the world. It is 92 years since the Loch Ness Monster's modern phenomenon began.
Wow.
I left this in because it's something I didn't know. On April 14th, 1933, hotel manageress Aldi McKay reported seeing a whale-like fish in the waters of Loch Ness. As she and her husband drove, she glanced out across the still, calm waters towards Alduri Castle. There, in the water, she saw something. Mrs. McKay's sighting was reported in the Inverness Courier on the 2nd of May 1933 by Alex Campbell, the water bailiff for Loch Ness and part-time journalist. It is widely regarded as the first modern sighting of a monster in the loch. Which I didn't know. I didn't know that's the origin of the Loch Ness Monster sightings, but yeah.
Cool.
So I think the suggestion now, whether or not there is actually a plesiosaur in Loch Ness Monster, which would be the coolest outcome. Either way, it'd be interesting to know what is causing the sightings.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of things suggested over the years, but if this guy's saying there is strong evidence that there are giant eels,
Yeah.
that would very much work and make sense as an explanation
Yeah.
for Nessie. Because you could see how they could be the humps and
Yeah.
over in the water and ripples and stuff. So I could see that.
Mm.
So I mean, if he gets his funding for Loch Ness 2.0, maybe that'll
Loch
finally
Ness 2.0.
solve the mystery. What do you think?
I'd be interested to see.
Do you think it probably would be eels or nah?
I don't know.
You don't know, or do you think
know
it
what I
is a
think.
plesiosaur?
I hope it is.
Yeah, so do I. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Anything else to say before we move on from cryptozoology?
We have got more? We
have
have
a few others, yeah. We've done the big three, but we have a few others.
Okay.
We don't always have others. So there's always something you could add to others.
Yeah.
But whether or not we do have them depends how interesting they are and how much time it's already taken. But there are some interesting ones, so I wanted to put them in.
Okay, I'm down.
So here's the first other story.
Mm-hmm.
Headline is Slenderman stabber to be freed from psychiatric hospital.
What?
Do you remember the whole Slenderman stabbing incident?
No.
You remember when Slenderman became big?
Yeah.
And there was some... These weren't adults, these were children.
Mm.
And two of them, I guess, were psychos. And had convinced themselves that they needed to make a sacrifice to Slenderman.
What the fuck?
So they led another little girl into the woods and stabbed her.
Oh, God.
You not remember this story?
No, I don't think I've heard this story.
We'll sort of half go over it as we go through. So the source is Global News.
I'm joking, sorry.
A Wisconsin woman who stabbed a classmate nearly to death to please online horror character Slenderman will be released from a psychiatric hospital, thank you, and continue her rehabilitation in a group home, a judge has ruled. Morgan Geezer has spent almost 7 years at Winnebago Mental Health Institute after she was sentenced in 2019 in the attack on her 6th grade classmate Peyton Leutner. In 2014, Geezer and Anissa Weir lured Leutner into a wooded park in a Milwaukee suburb. Geezer stabbed Leutner 19 times while Weir urged her on. According to investigators, Leutner survived after she crawled out of the woods to the path where passing bicyclist found her. Both Weir and Geezer told detectives they felt they had to kill Leutner to become Slenderman's proxies or servants and protect their families from him. All 3 girls were 12 years old at the time. Geezer, who pleaded guilty to an attempted first-degree intentional homicide, was sentenced to 40 years in a mental hospital, while Weir, who pleaded guilty to second-degree intentional homicide, was sentenced to 25. Weir, however, was granted release in 2021 and was given permission to live with her father and ordered to wear a GPS monitor. Geezer, now 22 years old, has petitioned Waukesha County Circuit Judge Michael Boren, who committed her, for release 4 times since June 2022. While she withdrew her first 2 petitions, Boren denied her 3rd request in April 2024, saying she was still a threat to the public. Her 4th petition, filed in October, secured her release from the psychiatric facility, and Boren decided Thursday that she has maximized her treatment options at a facility and is no longer a safety risk. He ordered the State Department of Health Services to set up a plan to house her in a group home and supervise her for his consideration at a hearing within 60 days. She's done what she's supposed to do, Boren told the court, calling Geezer's crime a brutal, terrible offence. She appears to have a good attitude. Three psychologists who have been working with Geezer since she was committed to the institute testified at Thursday's hearing that she made impressive progress in just the last 6 months and should be released. Dr. Brooke Lundbaum testified that Winnebago staff weaned Geezer off her antipsychotic medications by early 2023, and she suffered no symptoms since then. Dr. Deborah Collins said Geezer is always at risk of reoffending simply because she's almost killed someone, but she has worked on her coping skills, improved her emotional control, and retreats into fantasy less frequently. Collins added that Geezer told her that she hates what she did to Leutner and can't forgive herself. Dr. Ken Robbins told the judge that she could become dangerous if she remained confined at Winnebago and lost hope. The longer she's there at this point, the harder it's going to be to reintegrate, Robbins said. Waukesha County Assistant District Attorney Ted... That name. I can't pronounce that name.
Where are we? Oh, yeah, let's not try.
I'd just butcher it if I tried. So, Ted argued that Geezer couldn't be trusted, noting that she claimed during evaluations last year that she faked her delusions about Slenderman and actually attacked Leutner as a way of escaping her abusive father. He hinted that was a ploy to make the release more likely. The judge shrugged that off, saying it's not unusual for mental illness diagnoses to evolve. So, what do you think about that?
I think she's going to be derailed as soon as she gets her hands on TikTok.
Maybe, yeah.
I think all this supposed progress, fair enough, but the internet, man. As soon as you're back on the internet.
Yeah, that's the issue. The internet, well, I love it. I think the internet's great. If you're prone to delusions, it's quite a dangerous place, really, to get lost in. So, Slenderman isn't real, for anyone wondering. It's created as an art competition on the Something Awful forum, where someone, trying to make something creepy. And someone made up a Slenderman. And then other people took it and created sort of law for it. It wasn't, the internet was established. It wasn't like super young.
Yeah.
But it also wasn't as it is now. It was still relatively early on. So you could see how a child being on the internet could see that and not immediately be able to easily understand or access the origin of it. A lot of people for a long time, not necessarily that they thought Slenderman was real, but loads of people thought it originated in different places.
Yeah.
Now it's quite easy. If you go and know your meme or something, it tells you exactly where it came from. But at the time, a lot of people weren't were aware of Slenderman, but didn't know where it came from. And I think obviously, see, this is the thing. I don't know. I'm not a mental health worker. I don't. You know, I don't know how that works, but I wouldn't want to be the person that decided that this person can go back out into the world.
No, yeah, definitely
you know what I mean?
not.
But it's kind of like prison, right? We don't send people to prison just to lock them away forever.
Yeah.
We send them there to rehabilitate them.
Yeah.
So that they can come back out and be a useful member of society, right?
Yeah.
Because if the idea is you're going to put someone away and you never want them to come out,
yeah,
if you're just going to do that, in theory, it makes more sense to have the death penalty.
Yeah.
Because it costs a lot of money to keep people.
To keep them there, yeah.
But it's a slippery slope reintroducing the death penalty. And it's the same with sending someone away for mental health reasons.
Yeah.
You know, in theory, the idea is they go there, you find treatments for them, coping mechanisms for them so they can come back out and live in the world.
Yeah.
The issue is, if someone's committed a crime because they were a bit desperate or something, they can go in there and they can go into prison and you have the ability to become more educated in prison. They do courses and stuff, and you can get certain qualifications. You can go back out there and get a job that pays half decent, so you can get on with your life. And you know that can work. It's not going to work in all cases, but it can work. It's a bit different when it comes to a mental health thing, especially something quite severe like psychotic fantasies. I'm not aware if there is a genuine like cure, as it were. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can you actually be quote unquote cured?
Yeah.
Of that?
I think it was interesting as well mentioning that it was sort of to appease Slenderman to protect the families.
Right.
Which made me think of like OCD a bit in terms of like obviously not that extreme, but like, you know, you do certain things, certain checks and stuff and certain rituals to
in your mind
to protect. So it's like if I don't do this or if I don't do it right, something bad might happen to the people I love. So, you know, it's one of them sort of, you know, mental states. This is just like dialed up to 100.
But I think a lot of these mental health issues have a lot of crossover with each other.
There's a lot of crossover, yeah.
So I think it relates in some ways.
Yeah. But yeah, like that's my whole thing. It's like you have no idea what they're going to be like when they're out.
Yeah.
But I can see, I mean, we saw it with Gypsy Rose Blanchard when she came out, and she just got so popular on the internet when she came out.
Yeah.
Like she's still, and honestly, like, because I saw like documentaries and stuff about that, and I was like, I can't, you know, I felt for her in that. But then I saw the pictures.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they were horrific. And I was like, why? I mean, I get it, you know, obviously there's two sides to the story and it wasn't good for her.
Yeah.
But then seeing like her coming out, being on TikTok, posting all these videos, getting married or whatever, and then she got her own show. It was like a TLC show or something like that. And then everyone turned on her because then she was just like, she's, you know, like messing these men around and like wants to be with him and break up with him. And then she's getting pregnant. And it's like, she was so young when she went in.
Yeah.
And then she comes out, the internet's an established thing. It's not, she's not like evolved with it.
Yeah.
We've like grown up with the internet through its many phases. And you sort of know how to handle it at the stage it's at now. But if you look at it now, there's so much.
Yeah.
And so that's for something that you know, it started with something that was an online thing, right? With Slenderman, like it started as an online thing. For that to influence them so much that they did this horrible thing. That, fine, they've been away, they've gone through all this treatment. The doctors are saying that they're clear to leave. But as soon as they're reintroduced to this version of the internet, it's scary, it's worrying.
It is worrying.
Because the internet's a lot more vocal now.
It is. Yeah, it's interesting. And the thing is, even if hypothetically, say she wasn't crazy when it happened, she was just a stupid child who didn't realise what was going on. After you do something like that, that's going to mess you up anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it's interesting. It doesn't say anything in the story about what happened to the girl they stabbed, but it specifies she didn't die. So I don't know what she's up to,
Yeah.
what she thinks of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's interesting. Nobody died in this scenario.
Yeah.
Which is lucky, very lucky. Really.
Yeah.
And the other one, the one who didn't do the stabbing but was there with her,
Yeah.
was she? Did she have these same psychotic fantasies, or was she just there?
Well, she was egging her on, wasn't she?
She was just like her sidekick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Through social pressure, it's very easy for someone to find themselves in that position.
Yeah.
Especially if the other person, if someone is sociopathic, often they're very good at convincing people of things. You know what I mean? So was she just there sort of from social pressure from someone who convinced her to? But then again, that doesn't mean she shouldn't also be punished, because you can't, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of, I don't know. I'm glad I don't have to make these decisions.
Yeah.
But, that's a pretty nuts one, but she's getting out. So hopefully, I mean, all we can do is hope for the best. So hopefully she's gone through the appropriate things and she is able to cope and she can just live a normal, productive life.
Yeah.
Hopefully she never meets the girl she stabbed. Hopefully they stay
I hope
very
so,
separate.
yeah.
Because that can only turn out bad.
Yeah.
They don't ever want to meet.
No.
Let's keep them apart.
I think that would hurt me as well, in that, like, no matter if they have actually, gone through all this and they are actually an okay person, they are okay to be in society, it would absolutely break my heart to see them in society.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be able to forgive it, right?
Yeah, you wouldn't.
So I'd absolutely not want to have anything to do with it. And then, like that might be something that she seeks, though. She might seek the forgiveness, which is only trouble.
Forgiveness, and it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You just have to let that go at that point.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Right, let's move on from there.
We've got more others.
Yes, there's not many left now. We're almost at the end.
Okay.
This one I've been seeing popping up quite a lot recently.
Okay.
Headline is Mysterious Help Signs Captured on Google Earth Spark Major Concern Online.
Oh.
The source is Lad Bible. Which
Oh, God.
we have Lad Bible sometimes. It's not the most reliable source, but
I just dread it every time.
it's not like I've only seen it here. Like I've been seeing this pop up. This is not isolated to this Lad Bible story. So I thought it was worth having. Usually, a wander around Google Earth will be to look at your uni mate's house or to figure out what random bar you stumbled into the other night. But one area has sparked major concern online as people have spotted mysterious help signs. An empty lot in downtown Los Angeles has gone viral after a screenshot was shared on X in recent days. Google Earth images show the word help repeatedly written in the dirt, as well as Traffico and LAPD. Racking up millions of views, conspiracy theories soon began over what was going down there, as locals were quick to provide an explanation. Despite there being huge concern on social media over the unsettling image, police haven't been able to verify any crimes that could connect to the help messages. On Sunday, 26th of January, morning, a Los Angeles Police Department spokesperson said the force had responded to an unknown trouble call near the 101 freeway and Mission Road. Upon arrival, officers conducted a thorough investigation and found no evidence of any criminal activity or threat in the area. A statement to the LA Times explained. Officers also added that the messages spotted on Google Earth were from 2023 and that they had notified the Union Pacific Railroad. However, local news station KTLA sent out a helicopter crew for its news report, finding the words were still on the ground on Monday, the 29th of January. So, as was given with such a viral theory online, one person said they went over to the area where they found a number of homeless people. Ex-user LA Guy 310 spoke to people there and claimed, okay, so apparently Jose is writing all the help signs. They claimed a homeless man had been writing these alarming messages in dirt for many years. And the official LAPD Central Division account responded, shutting down the conspiracy theories floating about. We've had several different contacts with the individual you speak of. He has refused housing or mental health evaluation, it wrote. There is no evidence of human trafficking. He has been at the location for a few years. Union Pacific also backed this up as a statement to Lad Bible explained. A man trespassed on Union Pacific and other nearby properties to repeatedly create these misleading messages. We do know the individual that creates these does so on neighbouring properties as well. The company also echoed that there was no evidence to suggest someone was in danger. Now, I think this is ripe for more conspiracy. The police saying there's nothing to see here only fuels the fire of conspiracy there.
Yeah.
Especially because one of the messages it specifies LAPD. Traffic, they said there's no evidence of human trafficking. Presumably they brought that up because one of the messages is Traffico. And it's help Traffico LAPD. The implication I get from that, considering no one else, I mean, someone may have brought up human trafficking before, but considering they mentioned human trafficking, what I take from that is that someone's saying help the LAPD a human trafficking thing.
Yeah.
So of course the LAPD are going to say
there's no
I mean?
need for concern, yeah.
I mean, again, there probably isn't anything. It's probably just some slightly odd homeless guy just writing messages. But is it?
Yeah.
I mean, this is Los Angeles.
I mean, yeah, and if it is the
It's
police, who do you even talk to then? If there's
Who do you
something
talk
like
to
that,
if the police are in on it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's
but
what the
who
story
did
said.
so like him doing that, or whoever doing that?
Yeah.
If they say it's him, it might not be him. But like, who is that for then? Is that for the public?
I don't know. Maybe anyone.
Anyone.
See, if you're being human trafficked, you can't just run up and tell someone.
Yeah.
They'll kill you, right? So you have to do what you can. So if you're left alone for a moment and you want to do something where they're not, these messages are written big, so they're to be seen from above. They're like written in on the ground. So they're intended to be seen from above. So they might see you playing around in the dirt or something, but in theory, they're not going to look and think, oh, you're saying anything. So it's kind of a discreet way, I suppose, is the idea of just trying to get someone to see.
Yeah.
If this is true and people are being human trafficked, it's not necessarily, they don't necessarily know the police would be in on it. Oh, except if they're writing that in a message, they would do, you know what I mean? But I don't know. So I suppose it's just out of desperation, just anyone who might see that they could see. Again, hopefully it's nothing.
Yeah.
And it probably is. But if you read enough true crime things, something like that is not entirely unlikely.
Yeah.
And it is not entirely unlikely that it could be dismissed for a while.
Yeah.
Before being looked at later when it's kind of too late, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It might already be too late. They said they were originally written in 2023.
Yeah.
But they're still there now.
Yeah,
January, so no one's, wiped them away. I don't know. But I think this is something, if it does end up being something, this will no doubt come up again.
Yeah, definitely.
So make note of this story because we may circle back to this in future months I hope we don't. You know what I mean?
Like, I hope that it's just a...
But,
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this is this the last story now, I think? Yes, this is the last story now.
Oh.
So I brought this one up. The story itself doesn't relate to anything super spooky.
Okay.
But it's... I'll explain as we go.
Just go.
The headline is, 2 lynx captured after being illegally released in Scottish Highlands. The source is The Guardian. 2 lynx that were illegally released into the Scottish Highlands have been captured overnight and are said to be in good health. Police had issued a warning to the public on Wednesday evening not to approach the wild cats after several sightings in the Drumguish area near Kingussie. Don't laugh. I don't know if it's pronounced like that, but it's spelled Kingussie. Yeah.
You said don't laugh, but you paused and looked at me waiting.
Working alongside Police Scotland, experts from Royal Zoological Society of Scotland humanely trapped the wildcats and they are now being cared for in quarantine facilities at Highland Wildlife Park before being transferred to Edinburgh Zoo. The wildlife conservation charity condemned the illegal release as reckless and highly irresponsible, as did other animal welfare groups, who warned that it was likely the pair would have died in the wild. There were calls for whoever was responsible to face the full force of the law at the Scottish Parliament on Thursday. Police said inquiries were continuing to establish the full circumstances on Thursday, while charities working towards the reintroduction of Lynx to the Highlands have condemned the illegal release. There is speculation that someone who had grown frustrated with the slow progress of the campaign had taken matters into their own hands. The fact that the usually shy and elusive animals were photographed in snowy woodland by a local resident suggests they were used to human interaction. Eurasian lynx, which typically grow to the size of a Labrador retriever, have thick grey-brown fur with black spots and a white belly, were once native to Britain, but driven to extinction about 1,000 years ago. So, that's the story. Like I said, there's nothing particularly spooky about that.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I bring it up is because what has been brought up a lot in kind of cryptid-ish circles is what are known as ABCs, which stands for alien big cats. And when they say alien, they don't mean aliens, but they mean alien to this region.
Yeah.
And this is particularly a thing in the UK where people say there are big cats, and every now and then someone will say, "Oh, I saw a leopard," or this, that, and the other. And sometimes you get a bit of a blurry photo, and you're like, "Is it, or is it just a cat with no banana for scale?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this right here acts as evidence. Like,
it's
people
actually,
are intentionally releasing big cats into the countryside in the UK.
Wow.
So when you hear about an alien big cat, don't just dismiss it, because people are doing that.
Yeah.
I know these ones were quickly caught and taken away, but I wouldn't be entirely surprised. I would be surprised if there's a lot out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you hear someone say they've seen a leopard, you know, Paul Rossoli, or Rossoli, however it's pronounced, a guy lives in the Amazon. Or he doesn't always live in the Amazon rainforest, but he does a lot of work in the Amazon rainforest, doing conservation efforts and stuff. And he has a lot of stories of when he's there. And he's like, the jaguars that live there, if they don't want you to know they're there, you will not know they're there. Despite being a big, hefty thing, they are very good at hiding themselves. And something similar to that, adapting to the UK countryside, could easily be hidden.
Oh, God.
I know the UK is a very populated place for quite a small area.
Yeah.
But there are pockets of countryside.
Yeah.
And they could hide.
Fuck that.
You know what I mean? So I thought that was interesting to bring up for that reason. I was wrong also about that being the last story. There is actually one more.
One more.
This one's, again, I saw pop up. I didn't know the context of it. And then I saw this story in a headline. I'm like, oh, this is about that thing I'd seen.
Okay.
And this could end up being something pretty interesting. This definitely is the last one, though. And there is a little video to go along with this.
Okay.
The headline is warning as... That was already there. Warning as suspicious yellow man wearing mask caught loitering in creepy clip.
Ooh.
The source is The Mirror. This is the creepy moment a suspicious yellow man was caught loitering along a roadside. The footage, shared widely on social media, shows the man wearing a long yellow coat with yellow trousers and boots walk in front of a vehicle seemingly late at night. Speculation online suggested the man had a weapon during this encounter, and others last month. But Jared McFerrin, who took this clip, believes this was not true on this occasion. Police are aware of the behaviour and have increased proactive patrols across the Kilrea area of County Derry, Northern Ireland. They say members of the public must continue to report strange behaviour like this, captured on Val Road in Kilrea on Friday, 27th of December. So this actually happened in December, not even in January, but this is when the story came out.
Yeah.
Speaking to Belfast Live, Gerard said, I was driving down the Val Road when I saw the man wearing an all yellow. He says, when I saw the man wearing in all yellow, which doesn't actually make sense, but you understand. Walking down the road, and it seemed very strange. I was asking him why he was dressed like that, and he mostly ignored me and just kept walking.
Did you?
All he said was that it wasn't him, and that he couldn't get the mask off, and that he had been staying with a friend after getting a train up here. It was all very strange and made no sense at all, but I have seen people on social media saying that the man was armed, which is not something I ever said. I think because he was fidgeting in his pocket, people thought this, but it wasn't the case. Police will also increase patrols across Rasharkin and Dunloy after reports of a suspicious man seen in these areas too. Inspector Burns of the Police Service of Northern Ireland said, "As a service, we take all reports very seriously, and I hope that the visibility of our officers today, alongside our commitment to continue to patrol shared public spaces, provides reassurance and boosts confidence that we are committed to doing everything we can to make areas safe." Okay?
Okay.
That's the story. So here's the video.
Okay.
I'm going to bring up a video now on the mirror, which is a bit of a pain in the ass site, but hopefully we can get it to... Oh my God, no, I don't want to do that. Back to consent. If you reject consent to cookies, you have to pay, which is...
It's fucking stupid.
such a pain. We want sound on this one because there's a little bit of talking.
Oh, is it?
Not much. I mean, he told you what he said in the article, but... Is it going to play? Please. There we go.
Excuse me, man. Excuse me, sir. What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm going to ring the cops here and see if you don't tell what's going on. What's going on here? What's going on, sir? No, there's something going on. Why are you wearing a mask and all for? What do you mean you're trying to get it off? We're going to ring the cops here, alright?
So that's the whole video.
Yeah.
Again, I'll link to that in the description. There's the yellow man. It's like a hazmat suit kind of thing.
Oh, I thought it was like a raincoat.
Or a raincoat, yeah. But he's got like a gas mask thing on,
All right.
which is why I say hazmat suit.
Yeah.
Now, if this was an isolated incident, you think maybe he was on like some kind of stag night. They
Yeah.
dressed him up dumb, whatever. And he couldn't get the mask off, so he's just walking home or he got lost or something like that. But the article specifically says this has happened multiple times. This is not the only person to see him. And if you look at other, I did see a video, I hadn't watched the whole thing yet, but of people doing a podcast where they were interviewing someone who had seen him.
Right.
Not the same guy. And there are other comments in that video saying, "Oh, I saw him this time, whatever." So this is not an isolated incident. This guy's been wandering around wearing this outfit, and people have been seeing him. And some people are saying he's been armed.
Yeah. But
Fortunately,
he's not approaching people, is he?
no, people are just seeing him.
People are just seeing it. They approached him.
They approached him, yeah.
It's a bit weird, but like, man's just doing his thing.
Fortunately for us, this is in Ireland, so we personally don't have to worry about it. But you guys in Ireland, if anyone in Ireland's listening, watch out for this. So, yeah.
It's a bit weird.
He's not approaching people, but it's like creepy.
Yeah.
Walking along the road at night, no reason why, kind of talking nonsense. No one's possibly armed. You know what I mean? It's one of those kind of things that becomes an urban legend.
Yeah.
And you're like, who is that guy? And this is ultimately what will probably happen is this will just disappear. But if it sticks around for long enough, then people get interested in it.
Yeah.
Law will start to get made about it. But it's not even just a story because there was a video there that we saw the guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's an interesting kind of, yeah. I mean, if I saw that guy walking down the road, that'd be a bit creepy.
Like that time when we saw La Llorona.
When we saw La Llorona, yeah. That happened for real.
Yeah, for real. It was definitely La Llorona.
Yeah.
La Llorona.
So yeah, so that's
Okay.
I'll ask Sarah, what do you think about that one?
Yeah.
Creepy. Would you?
It's unsettling. It would freak me out. But I wouldn't approach. I wouldn't speak to him.
No.
Why is that? Why would you speak to him?
You just keep walking, wouldn't you?
I mean, he's in the car. Drive on, mate. Yeah. It's not like he's in front of the car row. I mean...
The police are aware of him and they're upping patrols in the area because of it. Interesting.
Yeah.
Have
I just seen enough weird stuff that I'm like, I don't see any issue with it.
They seemingly don't know who he is.
Yeah.
They understand that he is real.
If he was like standing in the road blocking cars and like being weird towards
being a problem.
People, I'd get it more. But I don't know why he's doing it, but like supposedly he might be armed, but there hasn't been any incident where he has like attacked someone. Maybe he's planning something. It is a bit concerning, but Guy's just doing his thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know what he's up to.
This
but
is
I
mental
think
health walk, Sam.
I like these kind of urban legends that sprout from things like this.
Yeah. It's
I
like the stuff
how
with the
this-
killer clowns. That
there's-
would freak
yeah.
you, wasn't it?
I like how this could become like a big thing, and like I say, law will be added to it, and it'll be like,
Yeah.
oh, have you heard about? He'll get a name, Yellow Man at the moment, or whatever it was.
Yellow man.
Yeah. What does it say? Yellow, yeah. Suspicious Yellow Man.
Suspicious.
So someone's going to have to come up with a more catchy name.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean, like that kind of thing. And then in future, you know, this will be long gone. But then people will be like, "Oh, did you hear about, you know, Yellow Mask Man or whatever?"
Yeah.
And they'll tell the story from it. And each time it'll get more elaborate. And I think that's that's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it doesn't hurt anyone if he actually was armed.
Hopefully, yeah.
But yeah, I think a nice, cool new urban legend
Urban
sprouting out
legend,
there.
yeah.
I'm very excited about that. That's good stuff because we don't get so many of them. Since the
Yeah.
world's become more connected with the internet, you don't
Yeah,
get many
not
urban
so
legends
many.
anymore. So it's nice when something happens and we can have one.
Yeah.
I like that. So there we go. That's episode 4 of Spooky News.
Woohoo!
Completed it. What do you think about these stories? Anything that stands out to you?
It was good. I liked all the stories. I'd like more actual ghost stories, I think.
I mean, I can't just make them.
Make them happen.
You know, the news is the news.
Yeah.
Not as big on UFOs this time.
Yeah.
You know, we got through that a bit more briskly, but there was still,
Still some
Still stuff to say.
significant
There always
things
is.
there, yeah.
like I say, it's kind of the biggest story at the moment until
Yeah.
something really kicks off in one of the other categories.
We had a bit more on cryptozoology this time.
Yeah.
Bit of drama with divorces and whatnot.
And that hate Oxford University.
Yeah.
hater.
Shut up about your hate.
All right. Well, thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks
Everyone.
for tuning in.
Please like, comment, and subscribe. And just tell us other possible urban legends that we might not have heard of. If you
Yeah,
know any, if you've got any
definitely.
from your local areas, let us know. Especially if they're nice and spooky.
Yeah, we
That'd
want to
be sick.
dive into some urban legends, I think.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we have a few of them, we'd have a little section on it. That'd be good.
Yeah,
I'd like
cool.
that. Anyway, yeah.
Right.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Bye.